Hello beautiful people, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Oluchiimoh, and in today's video I'll be showing you how to panel a round cake with fondant. Now this is the cake that I'll be working with. It's a red velvet and vanilla cake. It is 8 inches in size and about 9-10 inches in height, so it's a tall cake. So one thing I want you to bear in mind is that you need to trim your cake properly. Covering your cake with a beautiful, neat, clean finishing starts with your trimming. So for fondant cakes, I usually trim my cakes well. Now, if you've not watched my trimming video, you need to watch it so that you have an idea of how to trim your cakes right. So usually what I'll do would be to trim my cake first, trim around the cake, and then I would flip it over and then trim a second time. So what you can see here is me trimming a second time. I just want to get my cake all nicely trimmed, and I want the sides to be flush. That's one thing that I aim for when I am trimming my cakes and when I'm working with fondant cakes, because I don't want bulges. I don't want anything peeking through my fondants. Okay, so I'm done trimming here, and I'm going to show you so you can see that it is flush. When I mean flush, it is leveled from top to bottom. So that is one thing you need to bear in mind when working with fondant cakes. Alright, next up I would dowel my cake. So I have this plastic dowels that I'm going to use to dowel my cakes. I like to do that because it gives structure to my cakes. It doesn't allow my layers slide, shift, move, and all of that. And when I'm working with fondant cakes, I'm also mindful of the kind of fillings that I use in my cake. In fact, I don't use fillings, all right? So I am very careful. I don't want my cakes my cake layers or my cake sliding or having any kind of mishap. So I would dowel my cakes. I think I use about 5 dowels here, if I'm not mistaken, just to give proper structure to the cake. So you can use this or you can use a wooden dowel. And then when you're done with that, you go ahead to do the crumb coating. Usually I would use my compote filling when working with fondant cakes before I do my crumb coating with buttercream. But for this one, I just went direct with my buttercream to do the crumb coating before going right ahead to cover my cakes. So please feel free to do what works for you. Now I have my fondant right here. I have some icing sugar. I have my brush, rolling pin, a smoother, a pizza cutter. I have water, I have my craft knife, and I also have a measuring tape. So I measure my cakes, I measure the width and the height as well. So I've mentioned earlier that it's 8 inch by 10 inches high. Okay, so that's what I'm working with. I'm just going to go right ahead to knead my fondant and roll into a sausage. So if you're paneling, it's best for you to start out with a sausage shaped fondant. Okay, I guess you would understand this. So I'm going to roll out the sides. Now I'm gunning for a 10, 11 or 12 inches height, right? So I want something that is either almost exact or a little bit above the height that I'm working with. Okay, so that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to roll, and I'm not rolling and stopping, so you cannot see lines, you cannot see dents. That's one thing you need to know when you are rolling your fondant. So you roll continuously, don't roll and stop, and then from time to time I lift up my fondant and then still dust my work table so that it doesn't stick to the table. Okay, you can see some a spot with air bubble. I've just poked it and let out the air. So what I'm going to do would be to just roll, and then when I'm done with that, I would smoothing with my smoother. Okay, so it's important that you bear the height of your cake in mind. Bear this in mind. Don't just be rolling freehand and then you have it scattered everywhere. Or roll in a rectangular form or roll with a rectangular shape. So I saw that fondant was not going to be enough, so I had to start all over again. Okay, so I added more fondant and then I started all over again. So the quantity of fondant that I'm using or that we made was 2 kg. So I left a little aside. I usually like to leave some aside, some white fondant aside in case I have to do anything extra. So you can work with a 2 or 2.2 kg just in case you have other details to do on your cake. So I'm starting all over again, dusting my work table. I usually don't work with a steamer. I've said this a couple of times. People ask me why. I don't own one. I just don't see the need for it for my cakes. Okay, so it's a personal preference thing. If you want to use a steamer, it's all well and good, but I don't use one. I don't own one. Let me make mention that if you don't use enough quantity of fondant, you're going to be struggling with getting the height you want, especially if you're working with a tall cake like I am. Okay, so you need to use enough fondant. That way you can roll as much as you want, achieve the height you want, achieve the width you want as well, and you can also still have a thick fondant. If you watched my videos about fondant, mistakes you should avoid, or you've heard me talk about fondant cakes, then you'll know that I love working with thick fondant, so that the lines, the layers of my cake don't show through and I have a beautiful, perfectly finished cake. At this point, I beg to digress. I really didn't want to share this video. No, I didn't want to share it at all because it was a really difficult and challenging day at work on this day. I'm not sure if you were able to tell at any point with the clips you've seen so far, but it was really, really challenging. The weather has been hot lately, very hot, and also the power voltage on this day was low, so it was difficult working with my fondant. So many things happening in the background that I was just near frustrated. Okay, and I didn't want to share this video. I was really struggling, but I asked, and a couple of you said I could go ahead and share, and that's why I'm sharing this video. So I'm going to get to a point where you see me struggling, literally. Okay, so I just wanted to give a background so that you know, but I decided that I wanted to share this video to you just because it's highly requested. Now what I've just done is to cut off one end of my fondant. It's okay to cut both ends, but I usually just like to cut one. So at this point I am rolling my fondant. So when you roll, you wrap around your cake. Okay, so I have rolled my fondant and I tried wrapping around my cake and it was sticky. Like I said, the weather has been hot and my AC wasn't functioning well because of the low voltage, so it was kind of just sticking to itself, so I couldn't continue at this point. And believe you me, I had to repeat the process all over again. So this is me, I've rolled the second time and I was really rushing to get this done and over with. So I'm rolling again and trying to wrap around my cake. So that's what you do. Roll out a rectangle and then wrap around your cake. So this is it. I'm done at this point. Pardon my work table, but this is what it looks like when I was done. I had to stop the recording to concentrate, and these are some of the dents I have because of my struggle. Because of the struggle. Okay, what I'm doing now is to use water to apply around the edge, and then I'm going to roll a circular top or just roll some fondant and then place it on top of my cake. So please bear with me, and if you've enjoyed this video so far, please drop me some hearts in the comments. Let me know that it's okay and that you're enjoying the video and that you've learned something as well. All right, just drop me some words of encouragement, please. So this is me rolling. I was bumping into my phone stand. Things were just going left, right, and center, but I was like, I just have to get this video done. So what you're going to do next after rolling the top is to place it on your cake and then smoothen it out. Okay, so you use a smoother to smoothen it out. That dot you can see there is my dowel rod, but never mind, it's okay. So I'm just going to smoothen the top and then I will flip. When I flip, I would then go right ahead to use my smoother to push down my fondant, okay, so that I can close the seams. Now this is what I mean, and I'm using a gem smoother. You can see it's different from the other one I had. So I'm just going to carefully and gently, but with pressure, push down my fondant so it meets with the other one that I placed on it, after which I would then cut the excess of the fondant. What you need to do is to place your knife flat on the body of the cake and go around to cut off the excess, trim off the excess. Don't angle your hand, please. Just place it flat and go around. Another challenge I had was that at this point my cake then got stuck to the board. I flipped it over and it got stuck, so I had to stop recording. I was pretty tired at this point and I just had to fix it. Okay, so before you do that, please dust your board, which I did. I dusted my board before I flipped it, but it got stuck because it was terribly hot that day. But this is what the end result of the cake looks like. I was able to get the work done. Thank God for that. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please like this video, drop me a kind comment, and subscribe to my channel. Until I see you in the next video, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed.